Good morning. We are gathered here to claim our space. As you may have heard, some people are hoping to make us think that we don't belong here, that we are not a part or a valid part of the history of this nation. Some people think that the people we love don't belong here, that the people trying to figure out their gender identity that makes the most sense to them, or have romantic feelings for people of the same gender, or might be attracted to both genders and who might themselves be both genders, don't fit. But they do. We really do belong, and those that we love belong. I mean, if these people saying we don't belong really thought about it, I'm pretty sure they'd change their mind. But it's hard for some. We, like most humans, enjoy diversity, value science, love history, grow from cultural study, are enriched by literature, theology, and world religions. I think nearly all Americans believe in reason to a fairly large extent, and they can tell when people are being singled out and bullied because of their skin color or who they love, and they know it's not fair. But right now, all of the great gifts of humanity are glommed together into a single vilified, hated term: woke. Right now, if you are 4-star brass like Admiral Linda Lee, an ordinary federal employee, a principal of a school gaining federal monies, and you wish to protect trans kids from getting bullied, you can lose your job if they think you're woke. Never mind the irony that you would have never have been able to become a principal or a federal employee or top brass if you hadn't devoted a large part of your life to studies of woke topics to begin with. Now today, if you're one of those type of people who think the separation of church and state should be destroyed, if you think there are just two genders, if you think women shouldn't have the right to choose, if you don't think people of color contribute to society, it used to be you kind of had to keep that hidden. Maybe that was something you could speak freely about only in your fundamentalist church. Now, after decades of hard work organized by networks of churches like yours, you finally have the power to glom all the things that you fear and your church teaches you to despise as woke. Now all of the powers have your ear. Now you can bully and weaponize the courts and federal agencies to your heart's content. But you can't do that here. No, this is our space. We have claimed it after thousands of years of being despised and singled out and executed in public. Here, the ethical and mystical teachings of the world's greatest religions are liberated from the trademark of their dogmas. Here, love and service reign. Here, it doesn't matter what you believe. It just matters that you love and that you want to help people. This is our community where we support one another and care for one another. We are brothers and sisters. We are siblings. And we will share that bond with anyone who wishes to sojourn with us. Here, protected by the Constitution that still stands no matter what happens at the federal or even state level, will claim the very definition of woke that anyone who is woke, that anyone who loves woke and woke people has a safe place here. Because actually, woke just means that we have thought since the beginning of the Unitarian Universalist fellowships and churches that region should have a place in faith. Let them ape in dumb confusion as they drive by our signs, and they are reminded that, yes, we do church too. Let them consider that just as they have been using their churches to organize policies and issues they want, we can do the same. The reading I chose today comes from the greatest UU theologian, James Luther Adams, or JLA. He was living in Germany as a student, studying under the best liberal thinkers in the world when Hitler rose to power. He saw that liberalism had failed. Why had it failed? Because it wasn't local enough. It wasn't situated anywhere in small enough groups of people to really mean something deep and stirring. It had focused all its attention at the top, forgetting that all lofty things must be rooted in the soil and the manure of the lives of ordinary people to matter. I invite you to take a look around. Just do it. What do you see? I think we qualify as ordinary, right? So when he got back to the U.S., he focused on the Unitarian churches. He's responsible for more people going to Unitarian churches than any other person, for he ushered in the Unitarian Renaissance. He organized everywhere. He served and created campaigns for progressive politicians. And he said, the function of the church is to bring people into communion with a group wherein the divine power of transforming and ethical standards rooted and operative, being young for liberty. And he was only then that he thought that the redemptive power of God, or for the humanist among us, the love ethics, would break in and transform society for the better through that local community and the other local communities that it was networked with. Let us follow JLA's good advice and get busy. There's lots of people who are scared right now. This week, I talked to a friend of mine who's a meditator and an author who doesn't belong to a community. And she said she can't sleep and she's anxious. She's worried all the time. She wakes up and doom scrolls and can't stop doom scrolling. And I said, you need to find a good UU church. She said, well, I'm not religious. I said, don't worry, most of us aren't. Everybody deserves community where they can let their hair down, and in my case, down and out, and feel safe. You know what's happening right now to all good, somewhat stable UU churches and even liberal Christian churches? I got lots of colleague friends in the area. This is not a fact. I haven't seen this, by any kind of major polls or something like that. But everybody I talk to, it's the same thing. Lots of new people are showing up. Just as conservative churches started to grow when the liberal stuff started happening in the national stage in the early 70s, I think liberal ones are going to grow now. When we have enough sense of community that we can sleep at night, when we know that we have at least 100 people who have our back, guess what? We know that no matter what happens, at least on a local level, we have options. For instance, I'm sure you have heard that the new administration has just given ICE the authority to raid schools or churches. I was concerned. So I reached out, and I reached out, and I reached out, and guess who else is concerned? Very many communities right now. Within an hour, together with executives in the UUA, together with people who are in charge of food banks, etc., we found several ways to keep our food pantry volunteers and clients informed and safe. We found several ways to stymie ICE officers legally, and that was helpful. But there was something even more helpful. I found out as I reached out, as I networked, instead of feeling powerless, I felt empowered. Instead of feeling lonely and cut off, I felt surrounded by like-minded friends, and I had hope. You can do it too. I know I'm not alone. I think everyone who claims this space as their own, so many smart, capable lay leaders, so many wonderful food pantry volunteers, so many committed meditators, so many fantastic thrift shop volunteers, so many wonderful, talented musicians, so many bright young kids. We know that we have a safe space. This is our space. We will claim it. We will harness it for the good of the world. We are a rock, and this wave of hatred we are seeing shall break against us and dissolve into spray. It shall be the sound and the fury signifying nothing, as Shakespeare might say. And from this place, we will send out our lifeboats. From this space, our light shall shine strong and whole. This is who we are. And this is our space. Blessed be.